I am Marica Daniels, also known as Doula Daniels. I am a medically trained doula in postpartum and high-risk labor and delivery. I do this.
I do this.
I do this.
And I do this.
I do this.
I do this.
I do this.
Who am I? It's funny that this question always trips me up because I was in a space of saying, I'm not my name, I'm not, all my accomplishments and things like that. But those things kind of do make me up. I am Marica. I am a mother of two. I am a nurse. I am a sister. I am many moving parts, and I'm still one person at the same time. I like to say that I am light, in a body. So a lot of times, we get caught up in our day to day, and we forget that, there's actually someone inside here. So yeah, that sums me up. I am a lot of things. I don't think I'm just one thing. My business consists of me being a medically trained birth doula. So basically I educate moms during their pregnancy and during their birth and even during the postpartum period. I give them a lot of information that they may not necessarily have without me, just because when it comes to birthing in a hospital setting, a lot of providers don't necessarily educate the moms to the extent that I do in terms of letting them know what their options are and things like that. So I'm basically like a guiding light. There goes that light again. I'm basically like a guiding light to them during their pregnancy, to whether it's mental support, emotional support, physical support. I would say that my passion is rooted in life experiences. So the reason I got into this was because I was able to channel how lost and confused I was when I first had my child, because I never saw myself going into like the maternity field or anything like that. But once I had a child, it shifted something in me, because I was just like, there's no way that I'm the only one that's experiencing this. So I put a very personal feel into the things that I do, just because I know how it felt. And I don't want other moms to feel that confusion or that regret, or, just feeling alone. I know that can be a very heavy feeling. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I personally dealt with a lot of the things that I talk about and that I educate these moms about. So when I set out on the journey, I didn't take into consideration the amount of mental work that it would take just to be present for my clients, or be present, to continue walking in my purpose. I was extremely motivated when I quit my job in the hospital setting. I was like, okay, I'm going to take over the world. This is going to be easy. I'm going to educate the masses. And then I don't want to say reality set in, but responsibilities kicked in. And I actually recently was battling, how do I be, or am I supposed to be the responsible person that the world, has said, okay, these are the things you have to do in order to succeed, versus following my dreams and like making sure I like put time and energy into that. So it's like, how do you find balance in the two? So that's what this journey has been for me. Yes, I'm educating and I'm working with my clients, but the journey has brought me closer to myself that I honestly wasn't expecting, just because it's taught me to, find my voice and speak up for myself and follow my intuition on business and in my personal life. So more recently, after going through this for a year, I would say is when I actually realized, okay, yeah, you have to find balance, because it can't be one or the other. Learning to not separate the two, because we are one person, right? A lot of times we wear a lot of hats as women. We're a mom, we're siblings, we're partners, we're businesswomen. So a lot of times we separate the two and think, okay, none of these are connected, but they absolutely are, because you're the common denominator. So what I learned is, a lot of times we're on go, trying to make sure, each aspect of our life is taken care of, but we're forgetting to take care of ourselves. So what helps me find balance is going back to the basics of things that I know work for me to help keep me mentally grounded. Because it's easy in our day-to-day lives to lose that. We're just like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. We're trying to, knock things off our task list, even when it comes to business. But if we don't, like for me, going outside, meditating, praying, making sure I spend, like, I'm spending time being present, because that's a big thing for me, or I'm going to be filled with regret. Like, oh my God, I was focused on this when I should have been doing, enjoying the time with my family, enjoying whatever I was doing in that moment. So remembering to stay grounded and not making my tasks the source of my energy or the source of my happiness, like building that within me has helped me find balance. And just when I mentioned speaking up and learning to ask for help, I'm a giver. So I have a habit of just giving, and not necessarily asking. But I learned what I'm trying to be mindful of is that same happiness and joy that I feel when I give, I have to allow other people to feel that too. So a lot of times I'll be like, no, I'm okay. It's okay. I got it. And I'm shutting off their ability to be generous to me, and pour back into me. And I think that comes from my childhood, just always like never having my emotional needs met. So going back to the question, that's how I find balance. I speak up and I'm more mindful of the things that I need. So what brings me joy is when, whether it's after I've worked with them or in the midst of me working with them, when my moms are just expressing how appreciative they are or how grateful they are that, that I shared my knowledge with them, or that I just provided a space for them that no one has provided for them. Whether it's their provider or their partner or their support system. So just knowing that they feel better mentally and emotionally because I had something to do with that, that fills me up. That definitely fills me up. It makes me feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose. When it comes to childbirth, there are so many different aspects. You have the end goal, which is to have your baby and, be joyous and happy. And then you have the other side of the spectrum where some moms experience loss or they experience heartache. And being a doula, I get to experience all those different emotions, and I get to support them through that. And at the end of the day, it's also helping me, in whatever life experiences I'm going through. So it's a very rewarding experience. Honestly, I've never seen myself in this area of work, but it just makes sense for the knowledge that I have and the experiences that I have. I definitely believe in each one teaching one. So if I can make somebody's life better through a very vulnerable time frame in their lives, that makes the world of a difference to me.
It's the baby. Tough. You have to get the complicated.
We're going to get some blood from this cord so we can send it in and see what the baby's blood type is.
So that's what.
Once a mother has delivered and we're just in that moment, what I feel is a sense of accomplishment, but not for me, for the mom, joy and sacredness. Because I think a lot of times we get away from the fact that giving birth is a sacred thing. Like it's a very special moment. It's a privilege to be able to birth a child. So I think I'm just basking in the moment, and it's exciting, and I'm taking in the emotions of the dad and the mom, and sometimes they're sad or sometimes they're excited. So just feeling the energy in the room, that's something that brings me the most joy. Some of the challenges that I face as a doula. So immediately the first one that came to mind was in the hospital setting. A lot of times the unit or the providers don't really care to interact with me, just because I'm not the kind of person that will bite my tongue, especially in those settings, because at the end of the day, this is what I'm being paid for. I'm being paid to advocate and speak up for my clients. So a lot of times in a hospital setting, they don't care for me. So I am met with passive aggressiveness. I'm met with tension and combativeness, which I don't mind, because at the end of the day, you're going to hear what I have to say. So that another challenge. So I don't know. I think this is outside of me being a doula, just in entrepreneurship period. People understanding my worth or knowing my worth or understanding, that this is a business for me. This isn't just something that I'm doing just to make money. So people respecting that, I think that's another hill that I had to cross. And this goes back to speaking up for myself, because a lot of times, I'm very flexible when it comes to like payments and things like that. But a lot of times I didn't like the things that I had to do, or like, reach out to people, things like that. So it's just like, that was tough for me to face. And just trying to do that and maintain a household at the same time. Finding balance and being on call as well, because motherhood is, like, you can go into labor at any point. So I have 2 little children, so I have to make sure that childcare is set up for them. And then also, when it comes to clients, understanding or trying to meet their expectations, because a lot of times they have certain expectations for their birth or for their experience, and rewiring their brains to let them know that it may not always end up that way, or they have to do the mental work as well. That's usually a challenge sometimes. How important is it for Black women to have a doula? It is extremely important. And this just triggered quite a few emotions in me. I feel emotional just thinking about it. So what forced me to leave my job and set out on this journey was because I would come to work, and I was working as a high-risk labor and delivery nurse at a very busy hospital downtown. So I would come to work and consistently see the same thing over and over and over. And that was Black mothers ending up in emergency C-sections, or ending up in situations where they were taken advantage of, or they were, scared into, or backed into a corner. And it hurts me because the providers, they're in the room, they're out the room, and they say, okay, this is what's going to happen. But we as nurses, or we as the doulas and the we're in there holding their hands. We're in there listening to their concerns, their fears, their traumas, their regrets. We're the ones who are literally taking on all these emotions that they don't necessarily share with their providers. So as a Black woman, feeling that is heavy. And it's like, I hurt for them, because as much as I work in this field, I felt in a hospital setting as a nurse, I felt like my voice was capped. Like, I could speak up for them, but it only goes so far. So that's why I went onto this journey, because once I don't work for the hospital, you can't tell me what to do. You can't tell my patient what to do. Like, we're not doing this, and that's it. You can't write me up. You can't fire me because I don't work for you. So that was the energy that I felt going in. Black mothers, and I don't know if this is, I'm gonna say that it's an American thing, because when I learn about what's going on in other countries, this is not the case. Black mothers are consistently stereotyped. They're consistently judged for their lack of knowledge, or an assumption of a lack of knowledge. And they're more so told what's going to happen to them, rather than asking them what it is that they want, or what accommodations can we make. So we're already walking in with a chip on, well, not a chip on our shoulder. We're already walking in with a sort of wool over our eyes, just because they're gonna assume that we don't know what's going on or what's happening. So in those situations, Black mothers, even when it comes to statistics, they are the ones who end up in the most C-sections, the ones who end up with preeclampsia. They are doing a disservice to them. So as a doula, and even as a medically trained doula, I'm letting you know that you need the education, you need the tools. And a lot of times, even when it comes to mental health, we aren't given the tools growing up. So why do we expect a difference when it comes to the medical system? We're very trusting, we're very open to whatever the provider is going. And it's because, titles can be very misleading, just because you assume that this person, you know, has your best interest or has the best interest of your child in mind. But a lot of times they're covering their licenses. So a lot of times they may not tell you or educate you to the extent that you should be educated. So that's why it's important for Black moms, or any mom, but specifically Black mothers, need doulas, just because they need more people to speak up for them. And our partners, we love you guys, but if you guys haven't been educated as well, then it's hard for you guys to speak up for us. And at the same time too, men, or Black men, you know, we haven't allowed you guys to fully be in your emotions and fully. So when you see us in a vulnerable time, it's like, oh, I gotta fight, and you kind of shut down. So you may not know exactly how to navigate the field or navigate the situation, because it's like, here's this provider telling me that my wife is at risk or my child is at risk. Okay, do whatever you have to do. Not realizing that some of those very interventions are what's causing the situation that's going on. So it's extremely important. It's probably one of the, aside from, you know, I always make the comment that a lot of times we plan our baby showers and we plan, you know, what the child is gonna wear home and things like that, but you have to plan for your birth as well, and what you want that to look like, and the things that you want to happen. And the biggest part of that is educating yourself. So that's why it's important for you guys to have a doula.